I don't understand why we have to pay to live on a planet we were born on.
So I watched the entire video, and I'm confused. What do you mean? Like, what if all this didn't exist? What if all this division of labor didn't exist? What if that wasn't the thing? I'm actually asking, what would you have to do to survive? If you live, let's say you lived on the planet and there's nothing here, just animals and you, and that's it. How do you survive? You have to expend energy, quite a bit of it, in fact. In fact, before the idea of division of labor, you have to do everything. Division of labor is what has given everybody this bounty, including all these drones to do these cool aerobatics. So I'm not criticizing, I'm just pointing out, I'm going to answer the question. Like, energy is one of these things that you will burn no matter what. No matter who you are going to burn energy to survive on this planet. All life consumes other life. I don't like it any more than anybody else does. I love animals. I still eat them. Okay? So, right? And the more complex your society becomes, the more work it takes to maintain. You can have any civilization you want if you're willing to maintain it. And unfortunately, there are people who understand this, and then they bring in fiat currency, debt, and so forth. I've got hundreds of videos on that. You can go watch those at your leisure. But suffice it to say, you're going to have division of labor if you're going to have all this complex society. That means that people have to get good at a few things, and they have to get so good that they become efficient, right? As close to 100% efficient as they can, or as close to as 100% efficient as whatever it is they're doing will allow within the laws of physics that govern this planet. I hope that part answered that question. The next thing was we have the resources to do this, and we have the resources to do that, and we should be doing. Who is we? We implies division of labor. See, the first part of the video I just did. We implies division of labor. So it's just like, I see the people, I saw Vivek was like, we need to bring back insane asylums. Who is going to pay for that, Viv? Who is going to pay for that? Where's that money coming from? I'm guessing a printing press. I'm guessing it's going to be conjured from nothing more than likely. And I know for a fact he knows better than that. But now he's going to pivot and go down this other way because, he's a power junkie just like everybody else. That's why I kind of actually sort of agree with the whole will to power theory. In my own way. Not quite that way, because I actually find power thoroughly repugnant, personally. And most of the people who seek it, I want nothing to do with them. Because there's something wrong with them in their mind. It's not about trying to, they don't want to convince somebody of something. It's about forcing people to do something. And I have a problem with that. But so who is the we in all of this equation? When someone says like, well, we have the resources to do, yeah, that usually means, what do you consider, where is your job going to be in this crucial task of we need to do fill in the blank? What will you be doing? Pouring concrete? Will you be fixing cars? Will you be roofing a house in Houston in August? Will you be running the snowblower? Will you be what is your role? Whenever someone says we need to do, stop them right there and say, dude, hold on. What are you going to do within this we lexicon? What are you going to be doing with this? And it's usually something like, well, I'm going to be in college or whatever. Like, yeah. In other words, you don't want to really do any of this. You want the guys like me to go do all this stuff. The guys who do all the shit that you don't want to do. Yeah. See, those guys are getting pretty tired of doing all the stuff for everybody, and those guys are checking out. I don't mean like checking out, but I mean they're throwing their hands up and saying, you know what, that's it. This is the John Galt moment. If you don't know who John Galt is, you should probably look it up and read the book. She makes her point about halfway through the book. It's about as far as you need to read. You can read the rest of it. It's a little drawn out in my opinion, but I mean, her point's pretty well made. So Like, dude, that's what happens. That is a reality for just how men work. Men work for that which the money will buy, not money in and of itself. And if the money doesn't buy anything, men stop working. Particularly the creative, intelligent, industrious, disciplined, like those guys are the first ones to say, you know what? I'm done. As soon as they realize they're being ripped off. As soon as they realize they're being ripped off, most men go, I'm out. I'm out. I know you're ripping me off now. So the question of like, well, why do we keep paying rent? Why do we pay taxes and blah, blah, blah? It's because of the complex society that everybody has chosen to evolve to, or devolve to, in my opinion. I'm not a Quaker. I'm not saying we go back to horse-drawn buggies and everything. I'm just pointing out that, like, dude, the reason why you have a civilization, you have to be able to, if you want to have a civilization, you be able to maintain whatever it is that you create. That's reality. If you can't maintain it, it's like think of it like this. It's like the people who win lotteries, and they win like whatever, $20 million. They take the cash option, and they after all the nonsense, they walk away with like, let's say $6 million, and then they go and buy a $6 million house. What does any normal, rational person who has actually done any kind of money management in their life, what would they immediately say? They would cringe when they hear that. They're like, oh, how are you going to pay the $64,000 or more per year in property taxes? Where are you coming up with that kind of money? Where are you coming up with $5,000 a month in property taxes? To say nothing of the maintenance on a $6 million house, depending on where you are in the country. But I mean, I'm in Texas, $6 million house, that's a big house. That's a lot of house. And like, dude, how are you gonna pay your staff? Right? You just burned all your money on the house. Like, yeah, you have the house, but now you have no way to maintain it. So now it's gonna turn into the Leona Helmsley estate that's just falling apart kind of thing, right? Or these abandoned mansions. You scroll TikTok long enough and you'll see these videos of these abandoned mansions. Like, yeah, at a certain point, your outgo exceeds your income. So it's like you can't do it anymore. So you can have any civilization you want if you can maintain it. But if you can't maintain the civilization, then what was the point to do? If the road you follow God led you here, what use was the road, right? That's how it works. So no, you have to think it through and realize, okay, that yeah, if you want to have like all of this really cool stuff, then you got to maintain all that stuff. The obvious question, of course, is going to be a bunch of people like, well, because then they're furiously going to be in the comment section. What about this country or that country or fill in the blank? As with most young people, this is decades of experience talking to you. I may not look that old, but I've been around, and you're seeing what they want you to see. Okay, look up a Potemkin village. Look up Potemkin villages. You're seeing what they want you to see. You're not seeing how the sausage is made. You're not seeing all of the slaves on the back end of that, supporting all of that. Who will till the soil? The slaves, of course, right? People don't see that. So if you actually want to, think about it. Like, why do you think there's so many laws they keep creating? It's to keep people constantly being criminalized, their existence being criminalized, so they can be made into cheap labor. Yeah, because the civilization should be collapsing, and that's normal. That's healthy, by the way. Collapse is not. I mean, it's sort of like pulling the death card on tarot cards, right? I remember I'm not a big believer in any of this stuff, but I remember somebody showing me one time. I said, well, what's the death card? And they said, oh no. They said it's not what you think. It doesn't mean that like someone's gonna unalive. It doesn't mean that. It means that it's change. It just means that you evolve to something else. Right? The caterpillar becomes the butterfly after the struggle to get out of the cocoon. So, yeah.